Call this meeting to order at 5:30 p.m. on April 6, 2016. First order of business, roll call in attendance. Dr. Kathleen Barlow.
Here.
Matt Brown.
Here.
Joey Bryant.
Here.
John Dehan.
Present.
Gary F. Here. Dr. Serafini.
Here.
Trey Justin. Rachel Knight.
Here.
Robert Lane.
Here.
Richard Miller.
Here.
Dr. Todd Shiver.
Here.
Janae Skiles.
Here.
Patrick Stanton.
Here.
Andrew Sullivan. Brittany Wold.
Here.
Moving to the third item of business, agenda approval. Please take a moment to review the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda for April 6th? John moves. Is there a second? Mr. Miller seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Vote carries. Moving into approval of the minutes for March 30th, 2016. Please take a moment to review the minutes. Mr. Lane, do you have a question?
No. Sun is shutting my head.
Dr. Feeney,
What date did you say these minutes were from?
March 30th.
Okay. Yeah. Thought you said like before spring break, so.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes from April 6th, or March 30th, 2016? Excuse me. Brittany moves. Is there a second? Rob seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? 3 abstentions. Vote carries. Moving into section 5, reports. I don't have a report at this time.
I do, and I'll pass this around. This will not be on next week's agenda, since next week is going to be fairly full, since we have 3 of these to vote on and 3 other requests. However, 2 weeks from now, this is the S&A guidelines that we'll be reviewing. It has on here already highlighted the changes of moving the verbiage from ASCWU BOD to ASCWU student government. If you each get a chance to look through if there are any other suggestions or recommendations that you all have, you have 2 weeks to look over it, and we'll bring it to that meeting, and then we'll vote on it, so that way we have the new guidelines in effect for next year. So keep this with you, and bring any recommendations again in 2 weeks. I'll remind you all next week. Are there any questions about that now before? Awesome.
Thank you. Moving into section 6, first round of public comment. Is there any public comment at this time?
I'm just reporting back with the Law and Justice Club. You guys partially funded us our trip to Boston. Just thank you again for funding us. It was really educational, and we got to learn a lot about Massachusetts, and got to check it out.
Thank you very much. And is there any additional public comment at this time? Seeing none, moving into section 7, old business, supplemental funding request, voting, item 1622, Pacific University Undergraduate Philosophy Conference in the amount of $1,927.20. Please feel free to vote.
Can you recall how many students they have? 8? Is that right?
8 students, yes.
Yeah.
Does anyone know if they got funded from SAS?
Is anyone who presented last week, are they here for philosophy club?
They're not.
say if they got funded from that, they would use that first and, so it's not really impactful.
This one's strawberry cookies.
Mr. Lang, do you have something to say?
No, I'm still thinking about it.
Keep thinking. Mr. Dehan.
I know they aren't here for to ask them the question directly, but what I noticed last week is they had to get a couple, was it 2 extra rooms because they said it was special accommodations. You know, I didn't want to ask them at that time, but that's something to play into effect. Is if it's like a disability, like obviously we cater to that, but I wanted to ask and see what the special accommodation was because that upped the hotel price pretty significantly when you're looking at everything else.
Mr. Lang.
I don't think that we should necessarily put any consideration in the fact that they had to give special accommodations because it's not like if someone's uncomfortable enough to where they need special accommodations, then that needs to happen in this day and age especially. So I don't think it's that big of a deal.
But we could at least ask to see what it is.
Yeah,
If
but
they're not
Especially, well, provided that we do not necessarily, we can't decide what they spend their money on.
Right.
So they could potentially have spent that money no matter what, and we would have never known.
Yeah.
It comes down to whether the spending is approved by the committee and whether it's approved by a certain time.
And what I would say, just as a general rule, we do have the ability to ask that question. They do not have to answer it. However, what I would say is, before we ask that question, I would ask whether or not it's pertinent to whether we would fund it or not. Because in the situation, whether we would fund it based on specific accommodations or not puts us down a slippery slope of us then justifying why we would or wouldn't fund specific accommodations. If there are certain things, just for your frame of reference, if there are things like disability services throughout that has the ability to assist in funding for those types of accommodations or other areas. So it's really up to the committee on what precedent you would like to set for the rest of the year, on whether we're going to be taking into consideration accommodations or not, or if we'll be sticking with our general guidelines of roughly 4 people to a room.
And that was the only reason I asked is because that 4 people were in one room, but then there were 2 cases where special accommodations, they wanted their own room. I was just gonna ask, does that mean that cuts off, I don't know, $400 or $500?
Dr. Feeney?
I'd also like to point out that they were asking for the mileage reimbursement rate for the personal vehicle. And I kind of feel like maybe just the gas would be more appropriate.
Mr. Lang?
Honestly, I don't feel like we should fund the personal vehicle at all because they kind of made it like they chose to drive down there. They could have gone in the van, but they're choosing not to.
Mr. Lang?
It's also a possibility that we could table this till next week and get more information because the conference isn't until the 14th and 15th, right? And they're looking for, are they looking for reimbursement money or are they?
Well, everything's on a reimbursement.
Okay, yeah, so, I mean, it's a possibility.
I believe didn't they say that philosophy department was fronting with all the costs? So,
And that way we can find out what other monies they got.
Sure, we
Yeah.
can try to get them some more.
So,
details out.
is that a motion?
It was. It was, yes.
Okay, a motion has been made to table supplemental funding request 1622 until next committee meeting. Is there a second? Mr. Dehan seconds. Any discussion?
I'd like to point out that we have a lot on our agenda next week.
Be a long one.
That and their event is next Friday.
Right, but it's, from the sound of it, the department is fronting the costs for them to attend, so there's no risk of not receiving funding for the group. Any additional discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of tabling supplemental funding request 1622? Any opposed? Any abstentions? 2 3 abstentions, vote fails. Back to discussion. Mr. Lane,
I'd like to make a motion to fund supplemental funding request
1622.
1622 in the amount of $963. I'm sure that they'll get all that money from both Club Senate and at SAS. So as far as I see it, this is almost like a safety buffer. It's money we can't use, and I don't think that's an issue.
Mr. Lane has made a motion in the amount of $963. Is there a second? Mr. Epps seconds. Any discussion? Mr. Miller?
Oh, why did you choose 963? Just like an
That's the
arbitrary
funding
amount?
request for both of the others, or their
Okay.
Mrs. Wood?
That was my question.
Any additional discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? 3 abstentions. Vote carries in the amount of $963 for supplemental funding request 1622. Moving into section,
For clarification, was that $963, $963.60?
$963.
moving into section 8, new business, base funding program reviews, central access television. Is there someone here from central?
Yeah, we're here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Feel free to come on up.
Sorry.
No, you're okay.
Should I be like, okay, I'll
Either
show
way, I'll leave it to you.
Because I know you don't see me there. So.
If you want to come down here, then you're on the camera
Okay.
front. Yeah.
Yeah, come with me, come with me. Okay, thank you. I'm Tara Long, so I'm the business manager for Cat Media. And this is John Ward, and he's the faculty advisor. So I'll be able to answer a lot of the questions that you guys have about their budget, but he's here to answer the questions that you presented us kind of about the spirit of the program and what they're doing and why they're doing what they're doing. With that, I sent a spreadsheet forward. I'm sure you have questions. That's kind of our plan, is just to answer your questions. There we go. Thank you. Hi, Andy. Okay, so as you can see, the base funding, which I'm new here, I just started at the beginning of this academic year, so I wasn't present when we did the base funding request, but it was, we received $12,000 from whatever that request was, and my understanding is that it is for student wages and equipment to support the program, which Todd can expand on if you have any questions about that.
So what kind of equipment has been purchased since we started the program in 2013?
Primarily, it's related to film production, so cameras, computer, software to support the computer, microphones, the camera that's recording this program right here is one example, and so forth. So anything related to supporting producing of films and videos.
Then what students are employed and?
So we have the organizational chart. Do you want to put that up? Is that possible? Yep. So when we started a few years ago, we were called Cat Media. We've subsequently rebranded ourselves as Wildcat Films, treating it more as a production house. So we have the president of Wildcat Films and 3 vice presidents, vice president in charge of film production, vice president in charge of television type productions, and a creative director in charge of helping stories, be it if we're doing a marketing video, like for instance right now we're doing a marketing video for the College of Arts and Humanity. So we meet with them and we suss out what is it they want to get across, and then we funnel it through the students to turn it into a film script that we then go shoot. On the television production side, for instance, last night we filmed the Norm Stamper talk that was here on campus. So over the next few days we'll edit that, we'll put it out on YouTube and give it to the college to put on their channel and so forth and promote it that way. Tomorrow we're meeting up with a visiting professor. He's a CWU professor, but he teaches at one of the locations off campus, I believe in Puyallup or somewhere. So he's coming and he's hired our group to work with him to produce a marketing video for ITAM. So tomorrow we'll be shooting that, and then at 4 o'clock we have a live show in the TV studio, which is a roundtable discussion for a program we called Central Focus, and that's going to talk about the current state of marijuana, both pro and con. As it's been legalized, how has that impacted students and the community and things like that. So we've got a couple students that are going to be speaking, and a couple of community members that are going to have a dialogue live on TV at 4 tomorrow. So this is an example of the last few days, the sort of things Wildcat Films is involved in doing. So it's a real mix of film style programs, marketing videos and whatnot, where we take back and edit, and live television that we do usually once to twice a week in the TV studio. And then clients that contact us and the students decide, is this a project we can take on? And if so, do we charge for it? Not everybody can pay, but we like to charge where we can, bring in a little bit of income, teach the students how to negotiate with the client, how to determine what their costs are going to be, and so forth. So we try to use it, again, to emulate a production house, so as they leave and go into the real world, they have a sense of what it's like to sit down in front of a client, negotiate what their needs are, and then figure out how would I charge for this, and so forth. Along with the live television stuff, the whole spirit there is to produce content relevant and fun for the student body of Central Washington University. So it's kind of a real mix of stuff. It's ran by those 4 main students, and then there's a whole subset of lower level students being mentored by the more experienced students, with the idea that some of those people in the blue slots will eventually move into the red slots and take real leadership roles for at least 1 or more quarters during their time here at Central. That's probably a longer answer to the question that was asked, but figured, hey.
Well,
yeah.
are those the 4 paid positions? And
Correct, yeah, and this last quarter, we actually kind of forewent some of the salaries. It started with a favored nations type situation. One of our employees is an RA and could not earn any more salary according to the rules. So everyone agreed to forego their salary, and we used that money to put towards our most recent equipment purchase, because our equipment was starting to get a little dated and it was time to do a big upgrade. So we'll transition this quarter back into these 4 people being paid. And additionally, anybody in blue that works on a paid job could also become a temporary student employee and get the $10 an hour working on a production crew or editing that finished video. So.
thank you.
Any additional questions from the committee? Dr. Feeney?
What do you typically charge for like the department marketing videos, just out of curiosity?
I would say we're somewhere around the $200 to $300 range. It really depends on how big of a project's going to be. And again, that's part of what I want them to learn how to estimate. It's one thing to have somebody have an idea, but you have to convert that into shots, then you have to acquire those shots. And then another part of it is you have to determine how clear is the client on what they really want. Because a lot of clients think they want something, you go do the work, you show them the cut of the video, and suddenly they are all inspired with these new ideas. So you need to kind of work in a couple different angles, prepare for a lot of scenarios. But we're finding around the $200 to $300 range allows us enough money to pay the student employees and give them a decent product and so forth.
Seeing no additional questions at this time, very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, moving into section 8, part B, supplemental funding request 1620, Seawood Pride Week in the amount of $12,500 for presentation.
Hello everyone, my name is Patrick Carpenter, I'm the president of Equal, and here we are asking for your support for our 2016 Pride celebrations. I have brought with me
Victoria, I'm the radio coordinator. I'm Elena, and I'm the vice president of Equal.
Okay. So, if you can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. While I do an overview of what we're going to go over in our presentation, Ileana is going to pass out some of the Pride merchandise we have for y'all to see. This kind of a little preview of what we're going to have. What we're going to cover is the history of Pride at Central Washington University, the formation of our new Central Washington University Pride Committee, the growth of Central Pride, what to expect this year, a review of our budget, and then what is really the most important part to me is the importance of Pride, the impact of Pride at Central Washington University. University. If you go to the next slide, please.
Hi, so I've been studying Equals since my freshman year, and from that I have experience to this year's being my third, and I've come to get a little bit familiar with how they go about planning Pride, and it's gone a few different ways in those two Prides, and it's been a really great thing to be a part of. As they plan Pride through the year, it's generally been the board, and it's been generally a very, very large part of their efforts throughout the year. This year we've expanded that a little bit, but through that we generally just funded it through our ESC budget. We also have our personal budget allocated a little bit towards Pride. We try to spend a minimum amount every single year just so we can have a really, really good Pride.
This is the first year that more organizations on campus have become involved in planning Pride, so it's not just Equals board members. There is a new Pride committee, and it includes multiple organizations both on and off campus, like the Ellensburg Downtown Association, and the Wellness Center, and the CDSJ, as well as the student government. And so it's just increased the community members' interests, and we have more support going forward with this year's Pride than previous.
And this was not us asking them to form the committee. This is all of these organizations on campus have seen the impact Pride celebrations and Equals work has had on campus, and they got together and said, we want to support, we want next year's Pride to be even bigger, even more impactful. If you go to the next slide, please. So as I said, we've been getting bigger and bigger every year, more events, more elaborate events. We've been bringing bigger and bigger speakers. We've been getting more exposure on and off campus. This is really a regional thing. When freshmen come in at the start of the year, people will tell them there's whispers about our famous drag show, the amazing things we do every year. And part of the reason it's grown so big is because it's really aligned with Central's mission of inclusivity and diversity. President Odino said that he envisions Central Washington University as a diverse, student-centered school where we pride ourselves on building the lives of our students. His goal is to ensure that students get the best education possible while having a truly remarkable college experience. We must be collectively and individually committed to creating a university that treasures differences and provides opportunities for all to learn. And this is really what Pride gets at. This isn't just entertainment. If you look at our programming for the week on the next slide, you'll see this really gets into the learning, gets into activating the community.
So we do have a full week of programming. We're trying to move Pride from what we can do to what our ideal Pride at Central would look like. So starting off, we do have a peer art show that'll happen all week. We're getting submissions from students and community members based on our theme, which is One Proud World. And they're going to be able to submit that and have that out in the CERC and in the community at the end of the week. On Monday, we're going to have a field day, which is our plan on kind of like in elementary school, we would always have a field day. It's like that for college students. We've had a really good response to that so far. On Tuesday, we have a block party where organizations on campus are invited to come out and table in the CERC for a day. And we're going to have programming a little bit based on that and have everyone show their support and engage students a lot, especially having a presence in the CERC was really great for that. We also have a traditional event, Drag Bingo, on that Tuesday where we have a couple rounds of bingo spotted with entertainment from a drag queen or performer, and then we have them host it too. We've had that a couple times this quarter, last quarter too, and it's a great event. On Wednesday, we have the Dyke Rally, which is kind of like a fun event. It's going to be kind of like a festival a little bit. It's about positivity. A lot of Pride events, like typified, kind of don't necessarily get themselves directed towards women in the community, and it's important historically to have that. On that note, we're also having our headline performance that night with Leah DeLauria. She is a comedian, she's an actress, she is a jazz singer, no one knows that. She is become really popular in the last couple of years because she was on Orange is the New Black, still is, as Big Boo. And she's a really great performer, and with my experience with Pride in the past, I'm very excited to have a performer that people are excited about because there have been Prides in the past where we haven't been so invested in this, but we really wanted to make this happen because I've had events that have had very low attendance based on not having a name attached to it. This is a really big thing for us because it makes people come out, not just from the community in Kittitas, but all around Washington for anything that's really big like this. I'm very excited. On Thursday, we're going to have a Pride celebration, which is a nice festival outside. We're going to decorate t-shirts, and we're also going to have it attached to a rainbow run, which is a fun run on campus. We also have that night a lavender graduation celebration, where community members and allies are invited to have a graduation celebration if they're graduating in the spring. Or I think, does winter count too? Winter counts too, that's really great. And so they're having a personal celebration based in the community where they get to recognize their achievements as people who are graduating at Central. I believe we just got confirmation from the president who is attending. We're also going to get the mayor, question mark? Yes. And that's always a really great event to have with the community. On Friday, it's very much drag day. If you hear about Pride, everyone's going to say, oh, I always go to the drag show. This is bad. Amateur drag show, and I tell people, it's people from the community and from Central who are invited to come out for their first couple of drag performances that they're trying to make, but also we do have the professional drag performers there too, so it always goes great. It's a wonderful thing. We have it on the Cirque patios. And that evening, we're going to have the professional drag show. We bring out a ton of performers, a couple of hours of entertainment, and people just completely get their hair blown back, and it's like a big thing. Central always says it's great, and I'm very happy they're bringing it back this year. On Saturday, we're going to have a Pride Parade, which is going to have organization on campus coming out, and we're going to do, we expanded this. We usually do it on campus. We're going to have this come out into Ellensburg too, which is a big thing for us and a big organizational thing, but it's going to be so much more significant when people can actually see it. And that evening we're going to have Queer Prom, which is kind of like a community event, also specifically trying to get younger people engaged, because Pride can tend to center around adult-themed things. So we're going to have that for things like high schoolers and college students who really want dance that is meant to be very accepting, very distinctly. I'm very happy about that.
There's also some new initiatives and things that are changing. So previously, Central only has had the Central flag and the American flag flying over barge, and then one time we had the 12-man flag for when they got to the Super Bowl. But this year it's very exciting because we get to have the rainbow flag up there. It's new. There's also going to be banners on Bardo, and Wildcat Shop will be selling limited edition t-shirts that are specific just for Pride Week. And residents are going to be involved. So the month prior to Pride, we will be having people going into residence halls and getting them more engaged and having programs set up there so that they're also informed and promoting Pride Week as well. And it just gets more people in there.
Okay, so as you can see, this is a huge event. This isn't just a couple of days of things. This is 6 days full of diversity and educational programming for about $35,000. Our budget can no longer support our goal and what this campus really needs to show its support for the community and to include everyone. Fiscal support for this celebration is coming from all areas on and off campus. We have CERT partners, the student success, academic departments. If you look on the next slide, you can see a breakdown really of our budget. So as you can see, our total programming costs are $37,708.38. As you can see, we have our own budgets, from the CDSJ, we have the Bird, we have University Records from all over campus. People have put their money where their mouth is, and they have said these events and what we are doing is incredibly important to the climate and the inclusivity on this campus. But as you can see, we have $23,836.44, leaving us with still needing $13,871.94. This is really to the final touch. The $12,500 we're asking is to bring Leah Delaria on campus. Leona did a great job of talking about her impact, but I'd like to reiterate that this is a person who is not just famous in the community, she is famous all over. This is going to bring in people that we may not reach with our traditional outreach. It may bring people people that are a little bit afraid of showing who they are. It's going to give them a space where they can go and they can feel actively queer without being burdened. Next slide, please. And so the importance of pride. We're all going to speak on what we feel is the importance.
Pride has been really important to me because, and to people in general, because it lets people feel more included and accepted in during their day in life. And so, like, it's just a celebration, and I'm excited that this year is going to be even bigger than the previous years. And like my academic life at college has influenced my like interest in getting more involved in Equal, and so bringing in some more of my like lectures and stuff for my classes. There's a lot more we can do to be inclusive to people, and I'm hoping this will help with that.
Yeah. So as an Equal member for the past couple of years, I see how hard we work to try to make Equal and the campus a good space for people, and that's achieved through our weekly meetings and through programming like we do Guess the Straight, Q&A with the Gay, we do drag bingos throughout the year, and I'm glad to have participated in that, but especially freshman year, I really saw how big of a difference it was to have something that is kind of almost easier to participate in, and have something that's light and not super intimidating to people, where people from all of the community are encouraged to participate, and not just people who are queer. And I think that made a big difference in my experience, and I've been able to translate that to encouraging people with their stuff too, because I've tabled for Equal, and I've had people come up to me and say, I'm thinking about transferring here, do you know if I'm going to be supported? And I'm able to list off so many different things because we have had this kind of programming, and that it's not just a statement about us trying to be inclusive, it is us being proactive about really making it a good space for people.
And I like to end off saying that when I was a freshman, when I came here, I was not out, but the events that Equal has put on, the support you get from Pride, the environment that is created during this week gave me the courage to come out. And what we're doing really it engages the population. It tells them that they're not a fringe, they are a part of this campus, and that every person, regardless of their identity, belongs on this campus, and that everyone is a Wildcat. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation, and now we'd like to take any of your questions and concerns.
Are there any questions? Dr. Steiner?
I have a few questions. What is Leah's fee?
It is around $15,000.
And then,
No, go ahead, yeah.
Keep going. Do you charge for the drag shows, or do you charge admission for anything?
So what we've historically done is, what we're thinking for the Leah Delaria event is we are asking for these funds so we can bring it to the students for free. To give students the opportunity to go to this event and not have to worry about the cost, because that seems to be a bit of an impediment sometimes, where students, if maybe they're not 100% financially stable, they can still go to this event and not have to worry about that. We're also looking to sell around 200 seats beforehand, and having the prime seating up right in the front for about, I think it was between $12 and $15 a seat, to help allay the costs of the event itself. Also, we do charge, I believe it was $5 to get into the professional show.
And buy your t-shirt too.
Yeah.
Do you reinvest that money back into?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that goes
Is
to,
is it listed on your budget somewhere? Your investment?
it should be.
Is it, just
The
wanna-
Equal,
It's like so invisible because it's bright red.
yeah, I just, the
but-
light is not great. So it's the $380
Oh, on the right
from
top.
our personal account.
Okay.
And that's what's left after doing all the rest of our programming
That's all we
throughout
got.
the year.
And there's retained earnings.
And then what S&A funds are you a base funded group?
Yeah.
You're not.
All we receive from year to year is whatever we have in our account, and the money allotted by the Equity Services Council.
Fundraising too.
One moment, Mr. Bryant.
One, to clarify your question, they're not base funded, but ESC does receive funding.
Is-
So in that
In a roundabout
vein,
way.
they do. The question for you all though, just to clarify, and some of them may have the same question, I know that the budget that's shown up there, I have 3 different numbers. So just to see if that's the most updated,
This is the most updated
the one that's up
information that
there
we
is the
have,
most
correct.
updated. Okay. And have you heard, because I know that there's 2 that were requested that weren't committed yet, Pride Foundation and ASCWU, you know the status of those 2?
So we have not been able to receive funds from the Pride Foundation, but we have received $3,000 from ASCW. And that was information we found out this afternoon before the presentation.
You said 3,000?
Correct.
Yeah.
So again, just to make sure that I have it. So the numbers that are up there, the correct amounts that have been committed from each of those organizations?
That is
Okay,
correct.
so we should go off of that versus what's in the request.
Yes.
Okay, perfect, that's what I want to make sure.
Mr. Stanton?
So this is actually, it's probably a question for Wendy maybe. We funded this last year. Is that right? Is this the same?
Our collection.
I said it so quickly, yeah, almost every year, right? Yeah.
The board has changed, so I wasn't particularly at this presentation. So,
I think
but
I
I
remember.
overheard that this was something that happened last year.
Last year it came from the CDSJ primarily, where they had a variety of students presenting.
I see.
Mr. Lane?
Are you guys not able to present at Club Center or Academic Center?
We have not really, that was, Nikki, would you mind going to this, because you had the
No,
specifics
because
on
they're
this
not
information.
a club, they're an
An
organization, so
organization.
they're not able to present those.
And that is Nikki Marr. She works for our advisor, and she works for the Berg. She's in.
3,000 not listed.
Right.
So it's 26,800 is what they actually.
Mr. Miller?
So on Monday, you're having a field day and queer art show, and you guys are spending $2,802.50 there. What is that going to be used for?
So the Queer Art Show is actually going to be an all-week thing. It's really nice because it's going to
Okay.
have people presenting throughout the week, but also culminating in a event that engages the first Friday art walk for the first time.
Okay.
So that's going to be really cool. And the funds don't represent just like one singular thing. It's going to be a whole. Also prizes, right?
Yes, prize as well. The show itself will be held on the first Friday Art Walk at the 420 Gallery. Also, some of the costs on that Monday event are going towards the cost of food and getting supplies for the different events throughout the field day
Yeah.
itself.
Is there anything we could get like an analysis breakdown of like where all those expenses are going to? I'd be curious to know like how much of it's being allocated towards prizes and food and all that other kind of stuff as well.
We're still in the progress of planning every
Sure.
little thing. We have gotten a general idea of where we would like everything to go though, so we would be happy to continue to give updates on how that goes.
Dr. Schreiber?
I'm just trying to add the numbers up a little bit here. You, on one slide, you said your total that you needed was 37,000. When I add the 26,836 you've already collected plus the 12, you're requesting 12 from us, 12,500,
They're requesting 13,871.
13. So I've got over 38 or 39,000 when I add those together. Am I doing that correctly?
And what that is we would like perhaps a little bit of a a buffer in case anything happens. For example, a cost for getting Leah here somehow changed because of something that she needs to change, an increase in something that we did not anticipate. What we're hoping to have is security in these events so that we're not penny pinching, that we're not at the end of things going, oh, we have to reduce the impact of this event because we didn't get that extra.
And I might be able to jump in and help a little bit, because I've been working pretty intimately with the budget, because it's a huge budget, and it's pretty intricate, so, I mean, and it's open to anybody to see, if anybody wants to see, I even asked if I should kind of disperse the budget around, and we thought maybe it might be a little too much, because it's a lot, but it is very specific. It goes for every single event, for every single day, and there's a line item for every single supply, food, donation, in-kind donation, and so it's a pretty specific budget. So if these numbers aren't correct, then it's probably just human error on my point with the Excel but, I'm in it and out of it every single day.
Just to help simplify a little bit, because like Nikki's saying, it's a week-long event. There's so many things to cover, and supplies and the whole gamut. I believe to try to help simplify, I believe this request really is gonna be directed to the speaker that
Yeah.
is upcoming. I hope that just helps you a little.
Because that's one of the highlights of the week. That's what we think is going to bring in the people that aren't already engaged. And that's what we want to do during the middle of the week. So that for the queer prom and that for the drag events that we're going to get a higher turnout.
Also, field day is like 6 hours, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's not just like a little like hour-long thing, it's like a whole day. Yeah, I forgot to, people, it's a thing.
Mr. Wheeler.
Just when looking at next week, because we'll be voting on this next week, the speaker you said is about 15,000. So if you guys theoretically didn't get this full amount, like if you partially funded, you would not be able to have a speaker. So it's kind of all or nothing.
Didn't you have to confirm?
Well, her contract is not signed, her contract is waiting on fact of whether we have the funds or not,
Yeah.
so everything's drawn up with the contract. It's just, we were waiting to see whether we got these funds and also the ASCWU funds, because we were hoping to marry those funds together to be able to bring her to
But it's like all or nothing type deal.
Correct.
Okay.
If with the current funds we have, we can do everything else, but I think losing the Leodelaria event will really reduce the impact of Pride on campus.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been to Prides before, we took that less seriously, and I think my freshman year, we brought in like a film producer, and we had like 7 people attend. And I want more than 7 people to attend.
It's going to be, we've been talking to people and saying we are thinking of having her on campus, and that has been what's bringing some people that were
Yeah.
really iffy. Anytime we mention it, people are like, you're bringing her to campus, you're bringing her, because she is a very vocal and out advocate. Yeah. She's a very impactful person in the community, and she's someone, not with just name, but just visual recognition. She Orange is the New Black. Who, I mean, I don't watch it, but I know it. And everyone I talk to gets mad at me because I'm
I'm
not.
gonna make you watch that.
I know.
And we are able to recoup on some of those costs because we are charging for the event to help offset the cost. So I talked with Robbie today about Wildcat tickets, and so the seating that we have arranged is about 720 seating. We're going to do we have 197 reserve seating at $20 a ticket, and then $10 community members for general admission.
And then free for students.
And free for students.
That's a big thing.
In your opinion, what will be 90% students most likely attending?
Yeah, I mean, our biggest promotion when we're talking about where we're promoting is about 75% on campus. I would say we're about 80% on campus, and the rest goes to the rest of the community with press releases and event calendars and posters.
I think this year in particular, we've started to have a really good shot at having a much more thorough promotion stuff going on than we have in past years, because we've been able to establish things in the community like Pride of Ellensburg. Out in Ellensburg has been stronger this year, and just general engagement has been really high up. So I'm very confident that we will be able to get good attendance for these events.
Especially the student population.
Yeah.
Is there any additional questions or comments at this time? Seeing none, thank you very much. We'll go on. Next week. Moving into supplemental funding request 1621, Western Psychological Association Conference in the amount of $3,264. This one is specifically for the Des Moines campus.
Are you still there, Lynn?
Yep, I'm still here. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you just fine.
Okay, great. I guess I will just dive right in. So we're the Des Moines Psychology Club. We were founded last year to serve online students and students here at the Des Moines campus. Our goal is just to provide a supportive academic environment, professional development opportunities, and networking opportunities for our students. This slide is the past club activities. Last summer, we were able to send 2 of our students to the APS conference in New York, and just last week, I went and presented 2 posters at the American Counseling Association conference in Montreal. not actually use any club funds to send me to Montreal, but we were able to use club funds to send our other two classmates to that other conference last year. So we are asking for funding to attend the WPA conference, the Western Psychological Association conference, at the end of this month, April 28th through May 1st in Huntington Beach, California. Our budget was for 12 students to attend. We're anticipating probably 7 to 10 of those students will attend. This conference is supported by the Psychi International Honor Society of Psychology. It's a student conference, or a conference really for students, so it has a lot of opportunities for us. How will attending WPA help us meet our goals? We're excited for the opportunity to build community with other students that we meet and other professors, professionals in the field, other faculty, authors of textbooks. I really think this will be a great opportunity to provide academic development and professional development to our students in allowing them access to introducing to new areas out in the field of psychology that maybe we're not learning about here, professional development from presentations and workshops, and again, that networking, getting to meet people from all over the country in the field. Other benefits. This will help establish a good reputation for Central's thriving, vibrant online community, as well as all of us students at the satellite campuses. There are 7 satellite campuses across the state, and again, that large online student population. It's a great way for our club to connect with those students and build that good reputation. This is a great opportunity to build student engagement and show students here at Des Moines that our club does things. We go out and visit, and it is a great way to find professional development. And again, that networking. The budget justification, we're asking for this money to help cover our costs because we have our new club. We just charge $15 for a one-time membership fee for students to join. Because we're at the satellite campus, a lot of students are maybe just coming in for a few quarters before graduating. So we did not feel it was fair to charge people for a quarterly membership fee. We have some limitations on fundraising opportunities that we can do at this campus because we share our campus with Highline College. We have to follow some of their fundraising rules. Our population is non-traditional students, so most of our students have one or more other life roles, like they're full-time students, maybe full-time parents, also work full-time, really just coming in and out, maybe only taking one class in person. We chose this conference specifically to go to because, frankly, it's cheap, it's affordable. The early registration was only $75, and in comparison, like the conference I went to last week, the registration was $275. The APS registration was also over $250. So with only $75, this is like a screaming deal. It's also really close by, Huntington Beach. The flights are really cheap. So we wanted to, it's a great opportunity to provide to our students, but it's also affordable within the budget. That is all I have for my presentation. Have any questions?
Are there any questions at this time from the committee? Mr. Deanne?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Alrighty. So you started off, you mentioned that the 3264 was for 12 students, so that'd be about $272 a student, but you said it could drop between 7 and 10. So with all of your costs being variable costs, will the total price requested go down once you have a final head count, or how are you guys going to figure that out?
Not all the costs are variable. Obviously, the flight cost is the same, the registration.
Well, I mean, but with students,
The numbers.
the numbers are everything is for 12 students in your description.
Right, so if you divide the total amount by 12, it comes up to the 272. The only thing that might make a difference is hotels, but if there was 8 students, we'd go 2 rooms, so the per student cost for those nights is still the same.
But what I'm saying though is, like, if you have 7 students going, it's obviously going to be less than the 3264. I was just wondering if you guys were gonna have like a concrete number.
So currently there's about 7 students that are going, and so if there was 10 students, obviously the number would be about $2,750, 10 students. And for 7 students, it would be 7 times the $275.
So 7 students, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, some students are honestly waiting to see if
Any additional questions from the committee at this time? Seeing none, thank you very much for speaking with us, and we'll vote on this next week.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lynn.
Thank you.
Right, I'm gonna hang up now, is that all right?
That's okay.
Absolutely.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.
All right, moving into item 3, supplemental funding request 1623, Western Psychological Association, in the amount of $6,400 for the Ellensburg campus. If you'd like to come on up and speak, you want 10 minutes with your presentation. Okay, great.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joel Ortega. I am the president of the Psychology Club here on the Ellensburg campus. Today I'll be talking to you guys about the Western Psychological Association Conference and our funds request. Next slide, please. So just for starters, I just would like to introduce the Psychology Club and what we are about and what we do. We have 3 purposes here at the Psychology Club on campus. Our first purpose is to educate students on professional psychology. Our second purpose is to encourage membership in the Psychi Society, which is the National Psychology Honor Society, as well as provide a collegial fellowship within student psychologists. So with that being said, if you guys could be seen with the photos, we do bring in our professors. This is Dr. Stahelski and Dr. Jesse James. They come in, we do multiple talks, not just professors, we work with career services. We've done many events that entice with psychology. It's open up to the public. It's not mainly for psychology students or psychology majors. It's open up to the public as well as other students on campus and even other faculty as well. But as you can see, we do have, this is a full class, this is a little screenshot. But however, this is a full class. We have a huge number of members that participate in the Psychology Club. Last year, we had roughly about 15 to 20 members, and that's including with the officers. This year, we roughly have between 30 and 40 students that come, and that's not including the officers that are there. So, can you go on the next slide, please? So, a little bit about WPA. So, WPA was founded in 1921. Its purpose was to stimulate and exchange scientific and professional ideas, also to enhance research and scholarship in behavioral sciences. This year is the 96th annual WPA conference. It's going to be hosted in Long Beach, California at the Westin Hotel. The hostess are going to be California State University. We will be leaving April 27th. We will be there from the 28th through May 1st. There's going to be over 30 distinguished speakers over 4 days. Throughout these 4 days, there's going to be symposiums, poster sessions, poster boards, workshops, tons and tons of different presentations on different areas of psychology, as well as special events and programs that are going to be there. As well as Psychi, it should say international, but the Psychi International Honor Society will be there. They're going to have a session which gives us the opportunity as Psych members to ask questions about Psychi, and for the members that are already in the Psychi membership, allow them to meet other members from different universities, and as well as just network throughout the Psychi Society. So, unfortunately, this cost breakdown does not include our registration. Something happened when I was making this, and for some reason it deleted. However, our current cost breakdown is not going to match up with our forms that we had. While we're filling out the forms, it was originally of the list of 34 members. Now we are only taking 24, so that list did deplete. So this is the current cost and the current funding of the most updated list that we have. So with the cost being $18,489, this
includes the hotel, commuting from Ellensburg to SeaTac, the flight and travel expenses, as well as commuting from LAX to our hotel. So as you can see, this is, just keep in mind that this is for 24 members that we are officially taking. Not if they're not on the edge or we're not waiting for anyone to come in or to leave. This is a finalized list of 24 members that we will be taking. Yeah, next slide, please. So our funding. So we've done more than enough fundraisers. We've asked plenty of different sources for funds, but however, this list right here is the current list of who has approved of our funding. So as of last night, on our forms that we have submitted, as our SAS wasn't confirmed yet until last night. So last night was confirmed that we will be approved for the $1,500 of their funding. Club Senate approved for us for $2,000 for funding, and I really want to make a key point on the club funds. This is only between fall quarter and winter quarter. We raised about $4,000 on our own just to go to this club meeting or this conference. We are very determined. We have several members here that are showing their support just to show that we are very dedicated and very motivated to go to this conference. And so with that being said, the SEC is the student expected contribution. And as you can see, this is the biggest number out of all of them. And these are the dedicated students that are willing to pay to go to this conference, which each member that is going is going to be paying $275 out of their own pocket. We on the form it requested $6,300, which is beneficial for everyone. Now it's a lot less. We're only requesting $4,389.58. Next. So the main question is, how does this benefit Central as a whole? So for starters, this will benefit club students that are attending by exploring graduate schools and their careers. Just insight on psychology. Psychology is very tedious. You have to go into a precise program in order to go into your precise career profession. For example, if I were going to research methods here at Central Washington University, but I wanted to be a school psychologist, that would not, and if I were to get my master's in that, it would not give me a job as a school psychologist. I would have to go into the school psychology program to be a school psychologist. So with that being said, being at WPA, there's tons of different graduate schools with booths and representatives that are there with information on their school programs, on their master's programs, as well as their PhD programs. It's really very informational. There's professionals there that I had the opportunity to ask them about our careers and what we need to do, what needs to be completed, how we achieve the steps in order to be in our careers. And lastly, the most importantly, is knowledge and experience. So knowledge of your careers and graduate programs is very vital. It's very crucial, especially at this point of our lives. A lot of us are undergraduates. Well, we all are undergraduates. So our next step is to getting into a graduate program and figuring out whether we need a master's degree or a PhD. And by going to this conference, it enables us to know what we need to do and figure out a layout for our futures. And experience as well. We are able to practice our professional etiquette as we're going to be in a professional environment. It's going to be a formal conference, much like I'm dressed. So all of our members are going to have a taste of what it's like to be surrounded by professionals, keeping their composure, upholding conversations, being able to speak fluently without intimidation or anything of that nature. So it's a great experience overall. Even in flying, we were taking members that have never been on a plane before. So the whole trip itself is just an experience that, quite honestly, I don't even know if I can put in words. However, this is super beneficial, not just for the time being, but in the futures as well. So when our members do go to graduate school and they're in their interviews and they're in the hot box, as I like to call it, they're going to be able to present themselves in a professional manner and in a way that it's going to stand out from others just by having experience from going to this conference and continually progressing going to conferences like WPA. And so overall, this will benefit Central as a whole. This year we're implementing a new requirement from our members. We are going to be hosting an event on May 11th, which is 2 weeks out from when we come back from WPA. and our event will be bringing WPA to campus. So every member that is attending this conference is going to be required to summarize either two talks, two film festivals, or any type of presentation they went to. They're required to summarize their presentation, their findings, the research, and on May 11th, we're going to be hosting at our club meeting, which we cordially invite any of you guys, if you guys are interested in going. It's going to be open to the public, to the students and faculty. We're going to just be hosting an event where we review what WPA is, so others that are unable to attend WPA, or just others that just don't know exactly what WPA is going to have a little insight at our event. This benefits psychology students as well as other students and faculty. Originally, we had 34 members signed up to go. Unfortunately, finances I didn't allow them to attend, so that's why we were only taking 24. However, those students are going to be able to have a little taste at our event for WPA on campus, as well as faculty as well. There's a lot of research psychologists in the psychology building that would love to go but are unable to go because of the availability. So this allows them to come in, stop by, and check out some research studies that we concluded and summarized for them. And lastly, our learning objectives are simply to explore other psychology areas. There's tons and tons of subdivisions and different systems of psychology. There's cognitive psychology, neuropsychology, developmental psychology, industrial organizational psychology, forensic psychology. This all is going to be there at WPA. So our learning objective at WPA is to attend this conference and explore different areas of psychology. I've listed 5, but there's way more than that that's going to be there at WPA. So it's a great opportunity for students to really ground their feet in and really foresee their future. For example, if I want to be a mental health psychologist, is that really where I want to go by exploring these different areas? It enables me to see what else I have out there for my opportunities and my career choices. And lastly, by being at this presentation, it's very professional, it's very formal, and it's just an awesome experience. We're able to watch professional presentations that are very, how should I say it? Not famous, but very well known. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Stanford Prison Experiment with Philip Zimbardo. He attends to WPA every year, and we get to see his presentations. And by analyzing and understanding the way he presents his material, it enables us to bring that back home when we decide to present at Source and WPA next year for the members that decide to present their thesis and their research findings. So that is all that I have for you guys. If you guys have any questions, I'm more than happy to ask as best as I can.
Are there any questions?
Currently, where does the donation from President Gaudino and your chair, Dr. Stein, stand?
We've sent that, I want to say about 2 months ago in February maybe. We haven't received anything back, so I'm not thinking we're not going to get any funding from them, unfortunately.
Sorry.
Oh, it's all right. It was kind of expected, but yeah, we wanted to try. The worst case we got was a no, so that's what we did. Yes, sir.
I know you said on the budget you had up there that you left the registration off. Is that still the 2,500 that you had initially?
No, it's actually 1,800.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I apologize for the forms. It was a work in progress. Unfortunately, I didn't update it when I submitted it. Yes, sir.
How many of y'all will be presenting at Source?
Source, this year, I believe we have 2, possibly 3. We do also have a member that is going to WPA that will be presenting. His name is Steve Isaac. He will be presenting on Sunday, so he will be there presenting. This will also influence others to present next year for WPA. Yes.
Why was it just miscalculation that your hotel price went up since you filled out this form?
What does it say on the form?
It says 7,500.
Yes. I believe at that time when we were calculating, we were unsure exactly what the price was. when we had applied for the rooms, we were hoping for the WPA discount. Unfortunately, when we registered for the rooms, they were already booked out. This event is really huge, and tons of different universities attend to it. So I want to say we were using the WPA discounted price.
I just want clarification, so on his chart on the back of his request, he's got 2,500 for registration for 24 people? It's actually 1,800?
Yes.
So that's the actual number?
Yes.
I just want to make sure.
And just to clarify, the total cost that he has up there adds up to include that registration, so even though it's not on the right-hand side,
Yeah,
that 18,489.58.
Yes, that includes the registration. Yeah, on the forms, we wanted to overestimate just a little bit, just in case something like this would occur.
Any additional questions at this time? Seeing none, presentation will go on next week.
Thank you guys for your time.
Thanks. Alright, moving to section 9, other business communication received, I've not received any communication. Moving to section 10, public comment, second call, is there any public comment at this time? Seeing none. Moving to adjournment, is there a motion to adjourn? Mr. Miller makes a motion, is there a second? Gary seconds, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? One abstention. This meeting is adjourned at
Patrick, playing the game.
6:38.
Well, no, you should just have discussion.